Good morning everyone, this is Shailendra Parmar presenting a group presentation on the topic Invertebrates that was prepared by me and my group mates. So let's start our discussion. Before understanding invertebrates, let us shortly discuss about kingdom Animalia. Kingdom Animalia is the largest kingdom among the five kingdoms. This kingdom is characterized by heterotrophic eukaryotic organisms that are multicellular and lack cell wall. They directly or indirectly depend on plant for food. They digest their food in internal cavity and store food reserve as a glycogen or fat. They follow a definite growth pattern and grow into adults that have definite shape and size. Higher forms show elaborate sensory and neuromotor mechanisms. Most of them are capable of locomotion. The sexual reproduction is by the copulation of male and female, followed by embryological development. Basis of classification of animal kingdom. The features are used as a basis of classification of animal kingdom are arrangement of cell, body symmetry, nature of coelom, pattern of digestive system, circulatory or reproductive system, presence or absence of notochord, and segmentation. Animals can be vertebrate or invertebrates. Vertebrates are the animals that have backbone inside their body. Invertebrates are the animal without a backbone. In this video, we will specifically talk about invertebrates. Invertebrates are the animal without backbone. They are further classified into 11 phylum that are Porifera, Cnidaria, Ctenophora, Platyhelminthes, Aschelhelminthes, Annelida, Mollusca, Arthropoda, Echinodermata, Hemichordata, and Invertebrates Chordata. Let us discuss each phylum one by one in detail. Phylum Porifera.
General characteristics. They are generally marine aquatic organisms with a few freshwater species. Their bodies are asymmetrical. Body shape can be cylindrical, vase-like, rounded, or sac-like. The body has many pores called ostia and a single large opening called osculum at the top. Spongocoel is the body cavity that is present. Sexes are not separate. Asexual reproduction is seen through budding and fragmentation. Sexual reproduction is seen in certain species through gametic fusion. They are diploplastic animals with two layers, the outer dermal layer and the inner gastral layer. There is a gelatinous noncellular mesoglia in between these two layers. This contains many free amoeboid cells. They have the characteristic canal system for the flow of water through the body. There is an endoskeleton present with the calcareous spicules, calcium carbonate, or siliceous spicules, silica, or sponging fiber protein. Classification of Porifera. Phylum Porifera is divided into three classes. They are Calcaria, Hyalospongiae, Demospongiae. Calcaria. Skeleton is made by calcareous spicules. They show single spongocoel cavity which opens to the outside through a single opening called osculum. Radially symmetrical animals, choanocyte cells are large. They occur mainly on the rocky bottom of the continental shelves in temperate shallow waters. They are usually dull in color. Examples Scypa and Clathrina. Hyalospongiae. Radially symmetrical and cylindrical shape. These are also known as glass sponges. They are exclusively marine, solitary in nature. Endoskeleton or six-rayed siliceous spicules. Example Euplectella and Hyalonema. Demospongiae. Demospongians can range in size from a few millimeters to over 2 meters in largest dimension. They can form thin encrustation, lumps, finger-like growths, or urn shape. Skeleton either absent or present. The skeleton contains spongin fibers or siliceous spicules or both. Examples Spongia and Spongilla.
Let's discuss phylum Cnidaria.
General characteristics. Mostly found in aquatic and marine habitat, are radially symmetrical, have a tissue level of organization. They have a very special feature called stinging tentacles or capsules nematocytes present on the tentacles and body of the cnidarians. Cnidoblasts are used for encourage, defense, and for the capture of prey. They have a central gastrovascular cavity with a single opening mouth on hypostome. Digestion is extracellular and intracellular. They basically exist in two types of structure, polyp and medusa. Polyp is sessile and cylindrical form like hydra, adamsia, etc. Medusa, umbrella shaped and free swimming like Aurelia or jellyfish. There are some cnidarians which also exist in both phases. This is called alternation of generation or metagenesis. In metagenesis, what happens is polyps produce medusa asexually and medusa forms polyps sexually. Example of this is Obelia. Now, cnidaria is been divided into four classes, which are hydrozoa, scyphozoa, anthozoa, and cubozoa. Hydrozoa are almost entirely marine and predators. Sexual reproduction produces the planula larvae. Two body forms, a polyp and medusa. Gastrovascular cavity has one opening, the mouth, presence of stinging cells called cnidocytes. Example, sea anemones and jellyfish. Scyphozoa are exclusively marine. They have radially symmetrical and diploblastic, meaning that their body wall consists of the outer epidermis ectoderm and the inner gastrodermis endoderm, which are separated by mesoglea. They typically possess tentacles. Their mouth is the only opening to the digestive system. Example, Aurelia, the moon jelly, Cyania, the lion mane jelly. Anthozoa, tropical marine habitat, mouth surrounded by tentacles with nematocyst, partition gastrovascular cavity, secretes non-living substance around outside of the body to support and protect soft body tissues. Reproduces sexually by producing a free-swimming larvae planula or asexually by budding or fission. Example, stony corals and soft corals. Last is cubozoa. Cubozoa includes jellies that have box-shaped medusa, a bell that is square in cross-section, hence they are colloquially known as box jellyfish. The manubrim and mouth are located inside the bell. The velarium is also along the edge of the bell. Example of cubozoa is box jellyfish.
Now let's understand phylum Ctenophora.
General characteristics. They are free-living marine organisms. Their body consists of two layers with a third layer called mesoglea. Body contain an internal cavity and a mouth and anal pores. They did not have any respiratory or circulatory system. They are acoelomates, that is, do not have a body cavity. They have a tissue level of body organization. Ciliated complates are the locomotory organs. It has a group of cilia that helps in locomotion. All are carnivorous, that is, they capture prey with tentacles. They show bioluminescence, that is, they emit light. Sensory cells are present in the outermost epidermis. They secrete mucus and provide protection. Digestion occurs extracellularly as well as intracellularly. They are bisexual, that is, sexes are not separate. Ctenophora reproduce sexually. Fertilization occurs outside the body. Development is indirect. Most species show regeneration of damaged tissue. The phylum Ctenophora consists of classes Tentaculata and Nuda. The main difference between both are tentacles. Tentaculata have long contractile tentacles, while the Nuda have complete absence of tentacles. both in juvenile and adult stage. Tentaculata. The common feature of this class is a pair of long, feathery, contractile tentacles which can be retracted into specialized ciliated sheaths. In some species, the primary tentacles are reduced and they have small secondary tentacles. The tentacles have coloblasts, which are sticky-tipped cells that trap small prey. Mouth narrow and pharynx small. Most of these are luminescent. Examples of tentaculata are sea gooseberry and Cestrum veneris. Nuda. They do not have any tentacles at any stage in their lives. Body is large, conical and compressed laterally. These can grow to 20 cm long and 5 cm wide. They have a wide mouth and a large pharynx. They have one of the biggest mouth to the body size in the animal kingdom. Translucent is light pink or yellowish. Example of class Nuda is Barrow.
Did you know some species of Ctenophora special cilia in the mouth are used for biting gelatinous prey? The opening of the mouth is able to seal up like a Ziploc bag once the prey is inside. Now let's understand phylum Platyhelminthes.
General characteristics of this phylum are: the animals of this phylum have dorsoventrally flattened body, their upper surface or dorsal surface and lower surface or ventral surface are flat, and that's why they are commonly called flatworms. These are mostly endoparasites as they live inside the body of other animals. Some flatworms are free-living. These free-living flatworms are mainly aquatic. Some known forms are terrestrial. These are bilaterally symmetrical animals as their body can be divided into identical left and right halves. Body plan is blind sac type, which means that alimentary canal has only one opening. These are the first animals who have reached the organ level of organization. In this type of level of organization, body cells aggregated to form tissues and tissues organized to form organs. Platyhelminthes are the triploblastic animals. Their body structures are derived from three embryonic germ layers, namely ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. Exoskeleton and endoskeleton are completely absent. Some structures like hooks, suckers, and teeth may be present, which act as adhesive organs. Digestive system is incomplete type and has only a single opening to outside of the body that serves both as mouth and anus. Flatworms does not have coelom in them. That is why they are acoelomate animals. The flatworms are hermaphrodite, which means in them male and female sexes are not separate. They mainly reproduce sexually by producing sperms and ova. Some forms reproduce asexually, mainly by binary fission. Fertilization is internal type and development is usually indirect with complicated life cycle involving many larval stages and more than one host. Some flatworms possess a tremendous power of regeneration. If these animals are cut into 2, 3 or more parts, each cut part regenerates into a complete and normal individual. The best example is planaria. Now, if we talk about the classification of phylum Platyhelminthes, so this phylum is further classified into 3 subclasses, which are Turbellaria, Trematoda, and Cestoda. Now, let's talk about these subclasses one by one in detail. So, the first subclass of phylum Platyhelminthes is class Turbellaria. The animals of this class are mostly free-living and have true bilateral symmetry. Their body is dorsoventrally flattened, and these are found in both fresh as well as marine waters. They show regeneration as a common property and also have system of seated nerve fibers. The example is planaria, which you can see in the slide. The next subclass is class Trematoda, and common characteristics of animals belong to this class are they are dorsoventrally flattened and some have leaf-like shape. Their body is covered with outer covering called tegument. It is a protective layer usually made up of protein and lipids. It is usually armed with scale-like spines. They have two suckers, one oral sucker and one ventral sucker. These are ecto or endoparasite worms and have unsegmented body. Fasciola, also known as liver fluke, and cystosoma, also known as blood fluke, are common examples of class Trematoda. The last class of phylum Platyhelminthes is class Castoda, and worms of this class are endoparasites in alimentary canal of vertebrates. They do not have mouth, so they usually take food through general body surface. Their body is covered with tegument just like animals of class Trematoda. Their body is segmented and each segment is called proglottids. Taenia solium, also known as poke tapeworm, is common example of this class.
Now let's discuss phylum Aschelhelminthes.
Let's see what are the general characteristics of the phylum Aschelminthes. First one, they are free-living or parasites. They are found in soil, fresh water or as a parasite on plants, animals and even humans. The body is bilaterally symmetrical and triploblastic. The body is unsegmented, long, slender and tapers at the end. Metameric segmentation is not found. They are dioecious. Males are generally smaller than females. Animals of this phylum possess pseudocoelom, which means false coelom. The digestive system comprises a complete alimentary canal with the muscular pharynx, and the phylum Aschelminthes, they basically do not possess a skeletal system. The pseudocoelomic fluid acts as a hydroskeleton. The nervous system comprises a nerve ring and a nerve cords extending from it. Reproduction is sexual, fertilization is internal, and development is indirect or direct through the larval stage. The respiratory system is absent and gaseous exchange occurs through the body surface. They have an organ system level of body organization. Classification of Aschelminthes. The phylum Aschelminthes is generally classified into 5: nematode, rotifera, gastrotricha, chinorhyncha and nematophora. The first one is nematodes. Their body is bilaterally symmetrical and triploblastic. They are cylindrical in shape and they exhibit tissue level of organization. The body of nematodes have a cavity or pseudocoelom and their alimentary canal is distinct with mouth and anus. They are sexually dimorphic and generally are endoparasites. Example of nematode, Ascaris and Enoplea. Class Rotifera. Class Rotifera generally have an elongated body with reduced corona. They are generally minute microscopic aquatic organisms and their excretion is through protonephridia tubes. Lateral antennae and toes are absent and males are fully developed with little sexual dimorphism and ovaries in females are without vitellaria and their body possesses a through gut with an anus. Example of Rotifera, Philodina and Monogonontha. Class Gastrotricha. They are generally microscopic, unsegmented, worm-like animals. Ventral surface are with abundant cilia, so they are called gastrotricha, and their locomotion is by cilia and by muscular action. They glide over the bottom on ventral cilia. The head with a number of sensory bristles and epidermis with monociliated cells with gland cells and glandular adhesive tubes. Example of gastrotricha, Chionotida and Macrodicida. Next is class Chinorhyncha. They are minute microscopic marine organisms and their body is internally segmented. Development is indirect. The body consists of head, neck and a trunk of 11 segments. They do not have external cilia. They have a number of spines along the body. Example of Chinorhyncha, mud dragon and centrodus. The last class of phylum Aschelminthes is Nematophora. So we can discuss what are the general characteristics of class Nematophora. Their body has more than 2 cell layers.
and their body is monomeric with a pseudocoelomic cavity, and also they possess a through gut which is normally non-functional. The body possesses inacutical and longitudinal muscles. The cuticle are with small papillae moulted periodically, and locomotory cilia are absent, example of nematophora, beetles and cockroaches.
Now let's understand phylum Annelida.
Now let's proceed with phylum Annelida. Phylum Annelida is a very broad phylum belonging to the animal kingdom. It consists of more than 9,000 species in it. The annelids were the first segmented animals to evolve in the earth. Now let's see the general characteristics of phylum Annelida. The annelids are terrestrial and aquatic, but some of them are free living and parasitic. The annelids exhibit bilateral symmetry and they are triploblastic animals. Annelids have organ system level of organization. The body of annelids are elongated and segmented. They have eucoelomate. The body of annelids is metamerically segmented. That means the surface of the body is distinctly marked into segments. These segments are called metamers, and this type of segmentation is called as metameric segmentation. Both the terrestrial and aquatic annelids have the capability to locomote because of the presence of muscular body wall. They have two types of muscular arrangements, a circular and longitudinal muscles. The aquatic annelids have a special locomotory appendages called parapodia. They are a fleshy flattened structure. This parapodia and the muscle together helps the aquatic annelids to swim. Parapodia is mostly seen in Nereis and not seen in earthworm and leech. Annelids are classified into five. They are polyclate, Oligoceta, Iridinia, Archaeannelida, Echeuria. Polyclate. These organisms are mostly marine and have parapodia, which helps in locomotion and swimming. They lack clitellum and have nephridia, which helps for excretion. They are metamerically segmented and have bilateral symmetry. These organisms are dioecious and they have well developed nervous system and closed vascular system. They also have complete digestive system. Example: Nereis, sandworm, ragworm, sea mouse. Oligoceta. This class are commonly called as earthworms. They are mostly terrestrial and some are in freshwater. They lack parapodia and well marked head in it. They have clitellum and they are hermaphrodites and have no larva stage and metamorphosis. Their fertilization is external. Example: earthworm and bloodworm. Hirudinea. These classes are commonly called as leech and they are blood-sucking animals or they feed on blood. They are ectoparasites and the body has fixed number of segments and two suckers. They have open type circulatory system and have a temporary clitellum. They are hermaphrodites and there is no larva stage and metamorphosis. Example: leech. Archaeannelida. Archaeannelida is a small class with simple annelid worms which are metamerically segmented. They all are marine and have no parapodia or setae in it. They have a trochopore larva stage and most of them have narrow tube-like bodies. Their nervous system is primitive in some organisms and they have separate male and female forms. Example: Dinophlus and Gordius. Echeuria. These organisms have bilateral symmetry and cylindrical and soft-bodied animals. They have long prostonium. They do not have any external and internal segmentation. In some species, the proboscis is ribbon-like, longer than the trunk, and may have a forked tip. They are rarely have setae in it. Example: Echeuris and Bonilia.
Now let's know about phylum Mollusca.
Let me discuss about first its general characteristics. This is the second largest animal phylum after the phylum Arthropoda, and its body is covered by a calcareous shell and is unsegmented with a distinct head, muscular foot and visceral lump. A soft and spongy layer of skin forms the mantle over the visceral hump. The space between the hump and the mantle is called the mantle cavity. in which feather-like gills are present, for example Ctenidia, and they have a respiratory function. They are mostly dioecious with internal or external fertilization. Larvae form from veliger. Habitat. These are mostly terrestrial or aquatic. In aquatic, they live in mostly marine or freshwater. Body symmetry. These are bilateral symmetry in origin. Germ layer. These are triploblastic animals. Triploblastic in the sense they have three layers: mesoderm, ectoderm, and endoderm. Body cavity. They are coelomates animal. Level of organization. They form organ system level of organization. Locomotion. These are muscular foot or jet propulsion. Circulatory system. These are completely open or closed type of circulations are present in molluscs. Respiratory system. They respirate to gills or lungs. Classification. Phylum molluscan classification is mainly based on their shape and structure, especially their mantle. First, Haplocophora. These are relatively small group of molluscans, lack of shell, and they would look as worm-like appearance, and it contains shell without any plate. Instead of shell, their mantle secrete tiny calcareous spicle which give them a beautiful shine. Example: shell-less molluscans. Monoplacophora. These are conical shell with 8 pairs of serially repeated muscular hairs. They have undivided arched shell in their body with distinct head and radula is present without eye or sensory tentacle, but except in the mouth. Foot retractor muscle is present in their body. Example: limplet, and limplet is now recently known as living fossil. Third, cephalopoda. These are living in aquatic, mostly in marine. These are mostly benthic or pelagic. These are mostly without shell, but exception in Nautilus, it has rolled shell. These are complete or closed type of circulatory system is present, and they move in jet propulsion. Example: squids and octopus. Fourth, bivalvia. These are mostly living in aquatic, both marine and freshwater. They have two valves or hinged in their body. They have complete or closed type of circulatory system. They move in both muscular foot and jet propulsion. Example: scarps and clams. Fifth, Polyplacophora. These are shield-like shell with 8 separate overlapping present in their body. These plates are elongate or oval and dorsoventrally flattened. These are bilateral symmetrical in their structure. These are mantle edge stiffened, called the griddle. Example: chitin. Sixth, Scapopoda. The most distinctive feature of the scapopoda is that the tubular shell open at both the ends. Water is filtered in and out of the posterior end, enclosed by a tube-like calcareous shell, and it burrow in a marine sediment to avoid from the predators. Example: tusk shells. Seventh, Gastropoda. These are mostly live in aquatic, both marine and freshwater. They are single shell with oral or twisted. They have complete or open type of circulatory system. These are muscular foot in movement. Example: snails and slugs.
Did you know most of squids are small, but the giant squids are huge? It can grow up to 55 feet long. Most are about 33 feet long. Their eyes are size of beach ball, which let them see in a dark ocean. Now let's discuss phylum Arthropoda. General characteristics of phylum Arthropoda. The body is triploblastic, segmented, and bilateral symmetrical. They exhibit organ level of organization. The body is divided into head, thorax, and abdomen. Their body has joint appendages which help in locomotion. The coelomic cavity filled with blood. They have open circulatory system. The head bear a pair of compound eye. The exoskeleton is made up of chitin. The terrestrial arthropod excrete through Malpighian tubule, while the aquatic ones excrete through green gland or coaxial gland. They are unisexual and fertilization is either external or internal. They have well-developed digestive system. They respire through general body surface or trachea. They contain sensory organ like hair, antennae, simple and compound eye, and auditory organs. Classification of Arthropoda. Arthropods is divided into four subphyla, that is arachnids, crustaceans, hexapods and myriapods. Arachnids. Their body is organized into cephalothorax, a fusion of head and thorax and the abdomen. They have joint appendages, they have firm but flexible exoskeleton, they have open circulatory system, blood is free flowing in the body, not contained in vessels. Arachnids do not have antennae or wings. Example of arachnids are spider and scorpions. Crustaceans. They have segmented body with hard exterior known as exoskeleton. Exoskeleton hardened by calcium carbonate. They have joint limb, each often with two branches. They have two pair of antennae. They have 7 or more pair of appendages for feeding, swimming, walking, respiration and reproduction. Example of crustaceans are crabs and lobsters. Hexapods. Hexapods are characterized by the presence of head, thorax, abdomen constituting 3 tegma. Appendage are uniramous and single pair of antennae is present. 3 pair of leg and 2 pair of wings are found on the thorax of most adult. Gas exchange via trachea. Example of hexapods are insect and springtails. Myriapods. They have many pair of leg. They have 2 body section, head and trunk. They have 1 pair of antennae on the head. They have mandible, lower jaw and maxillae, upper jaw. Respiratory exchange occur through tracheal systems. Example centipedes and symphyla. Now let's understand phylum Echinodermata.
Phylum Echinodermata. Echino means bumpy and derm means skin. So these organisms have bumpy skins. Some of their characteristics are they are radically symmetrical and have equal units arranged in a circle around a central disc. Many have 5 equal parts, so we can specify that they have pentamerous radical symmetry as adults. They have calcareous endoskeletons that can be seen, often bearing visible spines. They exhibit organ system level of organization. Most of the members have circulatory system as well as the digestive system. They are triploblastic and have coelomic cavity. They have tube feet that helps them in locomotion. They are exclusively found in marine habitat and have an open circulatory system. They respire through gills and reproduce sexually through gametic fusion and asexually through regeneration. The mode of fertilization is external. Echinodermata can be classified into Leutherozoa and Palmatozoa, which can be further classified into 5 classes. Asteroidea. They have flattened star-shaped body with 5 arms and have tube feet with suckers. They respire through papillae. The body comprises of calcareous plates and movable spines. Pedicelaria is present. Some of the examples would be Asterias and Zoroaster. Ophiuroidea. Their body is flat with pentamerous disc. The tube feet are devoid of suckers. They respire through bursae. They have long arms that are demarcated from the central disc. Their arms easily break off and they have power of regeneration. They have a water vascular system of fluid-filled vessels that end in tube feet. The examples are Ophiderma and Amphiuria. Holothuroidea. Their body is long and cylindrical. They do not have arms, spines, and pedicellariae. They respire through cloacal respiratory tree and have soft body with a tough leathery skin. They possess tube feet with suckers. The tentacles have sticky end to collect planktons. They are dioecious with single gonad. The examples are Cucumeria and Holothuria. Echinoidea. Their body is hemispherical and the tube feet contains suckers. The body does not have arms and has a compact skeleton and movable spines. They have skeletal plates that bear many movable spines and three-jawed pedicellariae. The examples are Echinus and Sideris. Crinoidea. They have a cup-like body form and the body position is in an upwardly erect direction. They have branched tentacles that are also known as tube feet. They have branching nervous system and have 5 or more feathery arms. They have a water vascular system and they also contain an arboreal stalk. The examples are Neometra and Antedon.
Now let's know about phylum Hemichordata.
General characteristics of phylum Hemichordata. There is a presence of stomochord, which is flexible, hollow tube-like structure. It resembles notochord in terms of structure. There is the presence of pharyngeal gill slits. It helps in feeding and respiration. They are exclusively marine in habitat. It has bilateral symmetry. The germ layer organization. It is triploblastic and coelomates. They exhibit organ system developed organization. They have an open circulatory system. Their body is cylindrical with proboscis, collar, and long trunk. The excretory organ in them is proboscis gland. The image of proboscis gland is given here. Classification of phylum Hemichordata. Phylum Hemichordata can be classified into two classes, class Enteropranasta and class Pterobranchia. Now, class Enteropranasta. They are unsegmented worm-like invertebrates. They have well-developed gill slits. The epidermis is ciliated and glandular. Elementary canal is straight with terminal anus. The two rows of CC are present in the middle of trunk. They have dorsal stand-up nerve cell. Example is acron worms. The image of acron worm is given here. Now finally, we are going to learn about the class Pterobranchia. They are small worm-like filter feeders living on the ocean floor. They are often present in related to deep sea waters. They are sedentary, solitary, colonial or marine in form. There is either one pair of gill slits on them. There is no trace of dorsal nerve cord or notochord in them. The gonads are few in number. The reproduction is by the process of budding. Example is Tetragrammatus. The image of Tetragrammatus is given here.
Now let's discuss about invertebrate chordates.
General characteristics of invertebrate chordates. Invertebrate chordates are animals of the phylum Chordata that possess a notochord at some point in their development but no vertebral column. A notochord is a cartilage-like rod that serves a supportive function by providing a site of attachment for muscles. This organism resides in the marine environments, living individually or in colonies. They feed on tiny organic matter such as plankton suspended in the water. They are collomates or animal with the true body cavity. They reproduce typically through sexual means with some capable of asexual reproduction. They have a presence of a dorsal nerve tubes, presence of the past anal tail, and the presence of pharyngeal gill slide. They have no head and like a brain, but they do have all three features of chordates. Their exhalation is completely internal. Classification of invertebrate chordates. So there are two types of subphylum. First one is Urochordata and second one is Cephalochordata. Let's talk about Urochordata. The Urochordata are the organisms which are called tunicates. So a tunicate is a marine invertebrate animal, a member of the subphylum Tunicate. It is part of the Chordata, a phylum which include all animal with dorsal nerve cords and notochords. Urochordates is still sometimes used for these animals. They are the only chordates that have lost their myomeric segmentation with the possible exception of the seriation of the gill slide. An example of the Urochordata is sea pork and tunicates. Sea pork or tunicates is an aquatic organism that belongs to the category of Urochordata. Cephalochordata. Its body fish-like and is useful for burrowing and swimming. It has a head and tail. Dorsal, caudal and ventral fins are present. Circulatory system is closed. Sexes are separate. Glands are metamerically arranged and without genotox. Sexual reproduction will not take place. Fertilization is external. Example of cephalochordata is lincerates.
So thank you everyone for watching our video.